evening and welcome to Friday's edition of Sid Says. And today, with myself, I've got Sam, Spurs for Life, joining me. How are you, Sam? I know there's some good news. We'll get into that later on. But how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm buzzing about the intro music. That intro music's got me to. It's wicked. I love it. Yes, Sid, thank you. Great. I feel good. The sun's shining. Great Britain, England, UK, whatever you want to say, is roasting, and next week is going to be even hotter. And I think Spurs transfer business is the same as the weather.
You know, as that feeling goes, we are feeling hot. Anyway, so the tonight's show was going to be about the statement signing. However, it was pending. It was pending, and it's finally happened. It's not been announced by Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, but let's talk about Spence, baby. Let's talk about Spurs and Spence. Let's talk about all the good things.
I knew you were going to get that in somewhere.
Baby. Let's talk about Spence. Let's talk about Spence.
Sixpence. There's all kinds of little things going around about this signing. Yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Where do you want to start? Let's do it, man.
So, as if people are not aware, Djed Spence has officially agreed to join Tottenham Hotspur for a fee of £12 million. That's correct. £12 million.
I'll stop you there. 12.5.
12.5 million pounds. Rising to 20 million when he's won the trophy. So next season we might as well give him the 20 million because
get in, Sid.
According to you and everybody else, we're winning the lot. But no, 20 million. He's passed his medical. He's done everything possible. It's just a matter of now crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and the big, massive unveil. Now, whether it's going to be 6 cents, he sees dead people, or whatever, you know, Jedi's Skywalker, or whatever everyone's been going on about. But I don't care. We've got our number 6 signing of the season. And just for all the viewers that are watching, if you've been asleep for the past 3-4 weeks, you don't know what's going on. Here's a quick reminder of what's been happening since the season has finished. Ready? Here we go.
That was the creativity there. I like that. Like that a lot.
That's our 6 signings that have come into Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And it is absolutely amazing. It was my birthday yesterday. And we've already got 6 signings. 6 signings. Whatever. So, Djed Spence.
Yep.
What is he going to bring to the table, and especially the title-winning Tottenham Hotspur Football Club?
Okay, so the player himself, obviously highly touted. I think his breakout season was this season, and the breakout moments, I guess, the first of it being the FA Cup games against Arsenal and Leicester. Obviously, got Forest in terms of being on loan from Middlesbrough into the Premiership, and yeah, it seems as if there was a school of thought about this player. Middlesbrough folks and Middlesbrough manager, what's his name? Chris. What's his
Wilder.
Name? Chris Wilder is kind of a little bit, maybe the attitude. Maybe he's not able to deal with the attitude of the player in terms of, you know, the player being talented, very talented, but maybe too much for a manager saying, right, you need to keep your head down, work hard. He's got that talent. We've seen that. Now, what I think we've got is a player that has got dribbling ability, He's an attacking player. He's more of a winger than I would say a defender. So in a wing-back system, if you've got a solid defense, which I think we have, on that right-hand side, you were likely to have rumour on there. He can do what he needs to do. I'm not sure how Forest played last season, whether it was in a back three or a four at the back. I'm not sure. But again, what I saw him in against the games against Leicester and particularly Arsenal, he tore shreds off him. He really was attacking, the best player on the pitch in both those games. So I think we've got a real player on our hands. However, not Premiership proven, not proven in terms of a consistency level, game after game after game. We know that the Premier League doesn't take any hostages. You know what I mean? It really is a tough league to be consistent at. So we're going to see. We're going to see.
So 12.5 million. Now, it makes you wonder, right? Why didn't they get this over the line from the beginning? It's been going on and on and on and on. And eventually, we've got him probably cheaper than what we started off with. So it's a signing that I think a lot of Tottenham fans are relieved it's over the line. I think there's still a few that are a little bit, sceptical about can he adapt to coming into the Premiership from coming to Middlesbrough. I know them lot down the road will be dreading it because he battered them when he played for Forest last season in the FA Cup. But again, we've got Doherty, we've got Emerson Royal, and now we've got Spence. Now, in terms of, I think Conte wanted him for the pre-season in South Korea, so he's not got him. He probably won't be. He's definitely not available tomorrow. So I think the first game he could be available, if I'm right, might be the Rangers game.
Next
I know
Saturday.
Sean A is going to be at Ibrox, so he might get to see some of him. Do you think Conte is now going to get him drilled, ready for that prime position, or is he just going to get primed to be a backup for either Emerson Royal or Doherty?
Okay, so I did the old YouTube Brazil scout, looking and seeing what the player does over 9-minute clips. Now, as I said, from my perspective, you can't obviously tell everything from the clips, but what I can do from a coaching perspective is see the technique ability. What his strengths are is his running at players, his dribbling, his taking on, 1v1s, even 1v2s, they're doubling up on him in the clips that I've seen.
Yeah.
Any player that was 1v1 was getting skinned. We saw the game, or you might not have seen it, but the game against Arsenal in the FA Cup, Martinelli he came out on social media and saying it's the hardest opponent he's faced. Now, he's not a Premiership player, so that tells you a lot from me. So can he make the step up? Of course he can. Is he going to be consistent? Well, that's to be seen. I think what Conte would need to do with him is, once everything's done with the medical, and there's been some leaked pictures of him in the changing room at Spurs taking those pictures. So we're going to see the shots very soon, Sid. They're going to have somebody with it at Hotspur Lane who's going to go and do the preseason stuff, as what they've probably done with Clement Lenglet already. So by the time those guys come back, he'll at least have had some fitness training, the technique work, the shape work. When Conte comes back, he'll have that before the Ibrox game, and I'm hoping that he does get a feature. I'd love to see him.
Yeah, I think Conte and PRTv have been. I think they're going to be so excited for this young lad, and I think I read somewhere today as well was that fact that he said that as soon as Spurs came in for him, there was no other team that he wanted to go to, and it was Spurs or nobody. So obviously the boy wants to come to London.
And Sid, just to add on to that, that's why I think the deal's probably taken as long as it has, because there was no competition. Because of obviously, if the players made that decision that he's only going to go to Spurs, people could come with more money. He's unlikely. The club might accept the bid, but the player's probably unlikely. So when we talk about teams like Arsenal, who are really heavily wanted that player, and they're going to deny we didn't want because we've got Brooks, Kofi, Norton, Tom. I don't even know what the guy's name is. They've got other players in that position. That's just bullshit. The player obviously is high on the radar for a lot of teams, but he's made that public, and that's why nobody else is competing. So all Spurs had to do was wait it out. I think Middlesbrough probably wanted 20 million cash or 20 million as a total deal, as opposed to add-ons. But this equates to 20 million based on performances, which I think is the best thing to do.
And do you know what the other thing as well? I've noticed every time I see pictures of him, right, in our Spurs kit, I don't know about you, but he reminds me so much of Danny Rose. He's got a little bit of that Danny Rose resemblance. boy, if he's as good as Danny Rose was, or if he turns out to be as good as Danny Rose, I'm telling you now, man, we've already got a favourite. I know he's a London lad as well, but
Yeah,
we've got a massive, massive favourite. So 6 signings done now, and we're 15th of July. Absolutely, it's just mental. Before we go into his stats from last season, just like to welcome everyone that's joining us tonight. There's about 19, 20 people on. Please subscribe to our channel. Just press that like button, follow us, because the more you like, the more we'll come out to you. You know, we'll give you the content as well. We love talking. We've got a duo here, double duo now, Sid and Sam. We're thinking on the same wavelengths as well. So, you know what? It's looking good. Going back to Spence, I've got a few stats here now. I've basically narrowed it down. So let's have a look. Right. So previous clubs: Fulham, Middlesbrough, and Nottingham Forest. Age 21. Defender stroke midfielder. His right foot. All in all, his career is at Fulham, Middlesbrough, and Nottingham Forest. He's played 113 games, 8,140 minutes, 5 goals, 4 assists. Last season, which was his sort of breakthrough season at Nottingham Forest on loan, where he made his name and terrorised hell of a lot of Championship defenders and Premiership defenders. 43 appearances, 3,770 minutes, 3 goals and 4 assists. Looking at them stats, Sam, how does that pan out for you?
Again, it's so difficult to look at the cold facts in terms of goals and assists, because that's what everybody's going to look at. They're going to say, well, he's only got 3 goals, he's only got 4 assists. So what you have to then take off is, where did he play? What positions did he play? Because I know you've got defender stroke midfielder. I know that there was, I've looked on the Brazil scout report and it said he's a right winger, he's a wing back, he's a full back, he's a midfielder. So that shows me that he's probably not had a set position throughout his career since his early days. I think now he's established as definitely a defensive player in terms of a wing back or full back, but an attacking defensive player, if that makes sense. So he's going to really flourish, I would imagine, in a wing back system where your priority is probably to get forward more than it is to defend, depending on your position. But I've seen his defending as well. I said I watched those games against, well, not all of them, but I watched the highlights of the Leicester game and the Arsenal game, and he was defending really well. Hence the reason why Martinelli came out of that quote. It wasn't about him going forward that he was concerned about, it was his defending. So his defending is good. But what we have now is a player that wants to beat a man, and get himself into the box, or at least cross the ball. So what we should maybe look at is those sort of stats. How many times has he beaten his opponent? How many dribbles has he attempted? How many times has he created big chances, crosses into the box? Those sort of things, as opposed to just the stats about goals and assists. Because effectively, you want your wing backs to contribute, but they don't necessarily have to get 20 goals a season. That's not going to happen, really. So what you want to see is what he creates. So people talking about Adama Traore as being a really good player for us, or potentially, he had shit stats. But everybody's like, oh, we're scared of him because he's going to, you know what I mean? So this guy, in terms of being able to create a lot of fear in teams, I saw a lot of that in the clips I've seen. Players, doubling up on him. So that's going to create a lot of mayhem. And on that right-hand side, can you imagine him and Kulusevski if they got it going well?
You know, when you saw him a lot, like you said, and you saw a lot of it, did you see a lot of Djed people as well? Anyway, right. So,
this is going to be a long show.
Last season, Championships defender rankings for the 21-22 seasons. Duels 508. First. Dribbles attempted 187. First. Dribbles completed 75. First. Touches in the opposition's box 80. Sixth. Fouls won 60. Fourth. Assists 4. Position 6th. Now, for me, the dribbles attempted and dribbles completed and touches in the opposition boxes is what I'm interested in, because as we all know, Emerson Royal and Doherty, up until probably last 10 odd games of the season. Even then, we can say, you know what, wasn't much of them going into the opposition's boxes, let alone having touches there, dribbles completed. I think they were dribbling on the floor more than dribbling around the players. Looking at that stats for Championship last season, and don't forget this is the Forest side that got into. They were up until Christmas. They were in relegation. They were going to get relegated. They were favourites to get relegated, and then Cooper took over. And I don't know what. I know what Djed Spence saw. He saw, but I don't know what Forest ate or what they were on diet, but boy, did they have a run in, and Spence played a very, very important part in them getting to the playoff final and actually winning it to get promotion to the Championship. So, them stats there, Sam. What do you think of them?
As I said, these are what I'm looking at. So, I think what we've got to look at from our perspective, what do we need from our wing back? So, we need our wing back to create as much mayhem and as much chance as possible. Also, to chip in with some goals if it's wing back to wing back, to get himself in the box on the opposite side if the left hand side of wing back is there. This guy looks like he wants to do that. He looks like he wants to attack more than defend. But what I said is he's also got the defensive capabilities. We also look at the fact that if we think about Conte and we think about what he's done in terms of certain players, he's improved wing backs or improved players that may not have started out as wing backs, but has created a good player. This guy naturally has that attacking ability. All it needs to be is the right tactics, the right coaching. So dribbles attempted, dribbles completed, touches in the box. That's fantastic for a player who's a defender more so effectively, but has got that ability because we are creating areas, creating opportunities in those wide areas. If we get our system right, it's very difficult to mark out both sides because we can switch plays to get it from left to right. If we can get Sessegnon to do exactly the same sort of thing on the other side, and remember, Sessegnon started off as a more of a forward player, and these two are both the same sort of age. I know Sessegnon's 22 now. This guy's going to be 22 next month, sorry. We potentially could have a Rose Walker combination around. So I'm very excited, very excited.
And the most important thing as well is we've talked about all his qualities, about his touches on the ball and going forward. He's another homegrown talent, which 100%. We desperately need in our squad, 100%. Especially for likes of Winks and Tanganga and whoever are going to be looking at leaving. Then having another British-born lad into the club is a massive, massive plus. So exciting time for Tottenham Hotspur fans. Absolutely massive. I think it's a massive signing for Spurs. And if we'll go through the comments in a second, I think that there's a lot of excited fans. So let's quickly go through the comments because I see a few people on there already. Ash, evening, guys. Good evening, Ash. How are you? Someone posted the behind-the-scene picture of Djed Spence interview.
Seen that? That's what I saw as well.
Yeah, there we go. So that's good. That's good. Ritwika, I'm not going to read your comment out yet because I'm going to talk about that towards the end of the season. And you know why I'm going to talk about that? Please, it's not a dead joke or anything, but I had a sixth sense, right? And if you want to clip it, about 2 weeks ago, if I'm right, Sam, I mentioned this in Sid Says, and now it's coming back to fruition. And I'm sure, Sam, you said, am I Sid Says? Am I in the ITK? And I said, no, I'm the transfer guy. Yeah. So we're going to talk about what Retweet is on about later on in the show. So keep online, stay tuned. We will be talking. Punch bag workouts. Big up, everyone.
Big up, punch bag.
Been waiting for this one in, well chuffed with this signing. Lewisham lad, so not much bedding is required. I don't think anyone needs any bedding at the moment, mate. It's so hot out there. So, yeah, no duvets or nothing. But no, Lewisham lad, he'll be used to it. And I'm sure he's probably relishing as well. He's probably thinking, yes, I'm so excited. Zero and the tester, the suspense is over. There's a lot of these jokes going on today, man. This is wicked. You know what? This is wicked. This is wicked. Eddie Ryan, good evening, Eddie. He's a big lad as well. He is.
6 foot tall.
6 foot. NS Sports TV. Big up, Sid and Sam. Big up, big up. Punch bag workout, he's saying here. He's better than Doherty and Roy like going forward. He won't be Walker overnight, but this guy is going to be good. think about it, Conte creates right wing backs. This can't be ignored. 100%, 100%. I don't think any player that comes into Spurs or any other club, once you've had the players like Danny Rose and Kyle Walker, nobody can come in and emulate them straight away. Yeah. Like when Walker came from and Danny Rose came from Sheffield United and Leeds, respectively, they were good players, but then it took them time. And boy, did they become probably two of the best right and left wing backs the Prem have seen in the recent years. So there's a lot of talk about Spence. There's a lot of people saying a lot of good things about him. So I think he could walk into that team and become an overnight sensation, right? Or it might just take him time to embed. And it all depends on, for me, what Conte's idea or how he's going to bring this boy into the club. Does he see him as coming in straight in? Or is it going to be a matter of, let me bring him in, let him just get used to this Premiership, and then I'll slowly bring him in on that. Views on that one, Sam?
So what I think is this player got the attitude? And so when I say attitude, I don't mean in a bad way. Has he got the confidence, the kind of, yeah, I'm going to come here and I'm going to do bits? I saw the little thing when Forrest got promotion. He put that thing on Twitter, kind of had a little bit of a dig at what's his name? What's his name? The old, there was I can't remember his name, but he had a dig at an Warnock. That's it, Neil Warnock. He had a dig at Neil Warnock to say, look at me now. Neil Warnock kind of replied back, said, well done, son. You know what I mean? I knew he's either going to be a Premier League player or you're going to be a non-league player. So it shows me that it's an attitude thing. Is he prepared mentally to say, yeah, I'm the man, but I'm going to work hard to be able to show that I am the person? Conte's not going to allow him to be anything other than that. So if he thinks he's going to come in and just walk straight in and just say, I can do what I want, that's not going to happen. If he works hard, proves himself, and does what we said he can do from an attacking perspective, he will start more games than the other two. I think Emerson, by all accounts, is probably the one that's going to be number 3 and is probably likely to miss out. We have got Matt Doherty, who will be, I think, the starter for the season, but quickly, and if not, from what I see Djed Spence probably taking that space very quickly if his attacking talent is as good and the attitude is right, and Conte just gets him to tweak into the system, work alongside whoever's on that right side forward, which is likely to be Kulusevski. Sid, I'm telling you. You
know what I'm trying to get into my head, right? And I'm just so excited, is the fact that, can you imagine when they went to him and said, we want to sign you? He must have sat there thinking, so if I'm going to go to Spurs, I've got Romero and Dyer next to me, right? I'm going to have Benton Court. I'm going to have Basuma. They've just signed one of the best young midfielders at the moment in the Prem. Højbjerg's going to be there. Skip's going to be there, a local lad that's born there. I'm going to have Kulu in front of me, and then I'm going to have Son and Kane. What? I'm sure he must be telling his mom, his parents, his girlfriend, whatever, keep pinching me every morning, because to wake up every morning and to go and to do that, and then on top of that, you got Conte as manager. You'd be like Groundhog Day every morning, waking up thinking, pinch me, please, because is this for real or is this just fantasy? Anyway, but it's just...
You can imagine, though, Sid, beginning of last season, would he have ever considered himself playing for a Champions League team? I don't believe he would have even thought that. But maybe in his head, he's thought, that's where I want to be in the future. I like the fact that he's got that sort of mentality from what I can see. Obviously, we don't know the ins and outs until the player does the interviews and we see him in performances. But he doesn't strike me as a sort of player that's going to come in and kind of get a little bit intimidated. I think, and again, this might be a London thing, he might come in and have that bit of a swagger. Yeah, I'm better than some of these guys here. I can definitely make... And that's what you want. You want players to come in with that attitude, not to say, oh, you know what, am I going to make it here? I'm a bit intimidated. There's some big players. There's Harry Kane, there's Son. No, don't care. That's how I would want to approach it. Right, doesn't matter. It's Harry Kane. It's Son over there. I don't really care. We've got Kulusevski. I'm coming here to do exactly what I know I can do. He's in the England setup now as an England under 21 or under 23s. I can't remember what it is now, under 21s. So, yeah, I really think that this guy has the potential. Don't forget, it's still potential. But having seen him played against the likes of Premier League opposition and actually being the best player on the day says a lot.
Says a lot, absolutely. Punch bag workout. This backdrop looks quality, by the way. Sort the height out on Sam's, and it's a yes from me.
No, it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like that. Come on, punch bag. Mine's is designed with the tiling. Can you not see that?
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
I'll give you a punch.
You tell him. You tell him. Zero and the Tester is saying exactly what you said. Martinelli was his toughest individual opponent. He's also saying here, actually, the guy from Nottingham Forest, Djed Spence, who I played against in the FA Cup, is a very strong, good on the ball, calm and quick. I was surprised. He is really a good player. I think that's the Martinelli statement.
That's Martinelli quotes.
Yeah. Not going to say the next one because I'm going to talk about that later. Again, punch bag. I always thought, oh, no, we're not going to talk about it.
You've got to let the cat out of the bag.
I've got the cat out of the bag. Jed joke. Sid, I'm sorry. Here we go. Yeah, that's right. Retweaker saying, heard he's a Spurs fan. I'm not too sure if that's true or not. Good evening. Derek Hutchinson, big up Sam and Sid. Retweaker is saying, prime example, look at Robertson, came from Hull City and look how Klopp developed him.
I was going to mention Robertson, but that's exactly the point. So Ravika, you've taken or stolen my thunder, but you can have that thunder because that's out there. And he's a right back, but he's a very attacking right back. Now you got to think this guy's going to be a wing back, so he's got a little bit more defensive solidity behind him. So we're not going to be as exposed as someone like Robertson is for Liverpool. I would hope that he's still got that athleticism, and that's one of the qualities of him. He's athletic, that he can get forward and he can get back. I think, Emerson, he was able to be attacking and defensive, but not good in either, in my opinion. But he could get back and forth. Doherty, again, had a bit more success in the latter part of the season going forward. Let's hope he can keep that up for this season, because if he can keep that up, it means that he's going to be pushed by someone like Djed Spence. And all it will be is like this. It should be like that, and to the point where one of them is either ahead or not. But there's a lot of games to play, so I imagine they'll all get to play a lot of minutes.
Absolutely, yeah, totally. Derek Hutchinson, I don't think it's Arsenal don't like playing against Spence. Arsenal are not going to like playing against Spurs. Full stop. Now, that's it. Well said. Well said. Punch bag workout. Also, another thing, Sid, Sam in the chat. Our net spend so far is 70 million with no sales yet. Some more incomings. I think he'll bring some London swagger with him. Lol on the signs and backdrops. But do you know what? I totally agree with you. 70 million so far. We've got potential 150 million and we've not sold anyone. Yeah, so with Ndombele, Lo Celso, Winks, maybe, well, all of them on the way out. This big statement signing that we was going to talk about tonight before the Spence deal got done. I still think there's a big deal coming soon. There's one more, maybe two. I know the left centre back's the big issue because I don't know what's going on with Kunde. Kunde decided, I don't know what, that was done and deal a long time ago to Chelsea. Then he was going PSG. Then he was going Barcelona. I don't know what's going on with him. I know Chelsea have bought Koulibaly and they're looking at potentially more. But I still think this left centre back, Guardiola, is still available. Bastoni is still available. Pau Torres is still available. So something's brewing. Something's brewing. I don't know what, right? So I let the cat out of the bag before. And I mentioned this about 2 weeks ago on stream. I said that something is happening with James Madison. Watch this space. And this man next to me said, What? Are you in the know? Are you in the know? I just had this sixth sense that there's something brewing because we was after Madison before he went to Leicester City. We were still after him. And now Conte and Paratici, I believe, want this player as a playmaker. Hence why Eriksen we didn't get, and he's now gone to Manchester United on a 3-year contract for free. A lot of Spurs fans wanted Bale and wanted Eriksen, but we've gone and bought 6 players. So if you're not going to be happy with them 6 instead of Bale and Eriksen, then I don't know how we're going to please you. But for all how good Eriksen was, the sentimental side of it has to go because I think there's better players out there than Eriksen to get. And I don't think once bitten, twice shy kind of thing, because I was talking to my lad before and he was like, we should have gone for him. I said, no. Can you imagine if something went wrong and he had a bad 1 or 2 games? Then that was it. People would have come out and said, well, there you go. The last year of his contract, he didn't play for us. He was doing this. He was doing that. So better for him to go somewhere else, have a fresh start again, whatever. But this James Madison issue is not going away. I said it was going to happen, and today it's stepped up big time, big time. I know Rick Week has mentioned it, and I think somebody else mentioned it as well about, are we going to talk about Madison? Because apparently a bid's gone in, it's brewing, it's happening, it's happening. What's your thoughts on Madison? I know we had a quick discussion last week as well. So do you reckon James Madison is going to be one of many, or one of two, or the main statement signing this window?
Okay, so I think after that, I agree with you 100%. I've talked about James Madison for a long time. If you think about the signings that we've made, apart from the goalkeeper, maybe probably Clement Longley, all those players have the ability to play more than one position. Basuma, bought as a defensive midfielder, I think it's a box-to-box midfielder. I think he can even play in an attacking role in an attacking sense from a midfielder. Not necessarily have to do that all the time. Perisic, we know about his ability to play left, right side, up front, wing back. So he's got that. Djed Spence, again, can play right wing, has been the potential to play midfield as well, depending on where he plays. So we've got players that are adaptable. James Madison, again, if we're looking at him as just an Ericsson type player in that cam role, I think he's more than that. I think he has the ability to play box-to-box. Don't forget, he has played sometimes in that Leicester team when they've played 4-4-2 or 4-4-2-1. So I think he's got that box-to-box ability, but he doesn't necessarily have to do that in the team he plays. And maybe sometimes he doesn't want to do that. Maybe he's not coached to do that. I don't know how Brendan Rodgers wants some of his players to play if he's playing a 4-4-1-1 system. However, he's got ability. He's got talent. As I keep saying, he's got that Jack Grealish type attitude about him. I'm the best. You know what I mean? Look at me. My hair's nice. I can play football still. I'm really good. He is like that. You know what I mean? He's got that. And I like that about players. Not everybody does. But the thing is, if you can back it up, then you should be able to have that swagger. And he can back it up. Bring him into this squad. Bring him into this setup with the players around him that we've got. You can only aspire, unless you're a shrinking violet, as they say, as the saying goes, and you're going to be intimidated by better players. You should always want to come into a setup and see, right, that's the benchmark. I want to get there. And that's the attitude that I want every single Spurs player to have. Even the likes of Son and Kane, who are probably our untouchables in our squad, you still want them to think, hold on a minute, Richarlison's here. Oh, hold on, I've got Perisic behind me. If I don't perform well, the manager might give me a little bit of a lesson here and take me out for the next game. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. And I think that's what's going to happen. So if we get this James Madison over the line, I don't even think that will be the statement signing, Sid. I think it'll be a good signing, but I really think they might go for a big centre-back. And I think that'll be it. 2 more signings, and I think I'm happy with that.
Yeah. See, the thing with Madison as well is everything you've said. And the most important thing for me, set pieces. He knows how to take a set piece. Yeah. So I know Kane scored one in pre-season the other day, but if it happens, when you've got a player like Madison who is, you know what? If it was a choice between Prowse and Madison, for me, it's Madison all day long, because all-round play of Madison, the guy can create his quality on the ball, his passing ability, and his free kicks. Whereas Prowse is more of a free kick main man. But this guy, I think he's got a bit of everything in him. And I think Punchbag Workout saying here as well, I always thought Madison had an attitude problem, but that will be squashed with Conte. It's a yes from me. I totally agree. He's known to have this attitude problem. Exactly what you said, Sam. The big I am, I'm better than everyone else, blah, blah, blah. However, whether Brendan Rodgers has controlled it or not, I don't know. But I know for a fact, Conte will not take no shit from any of them players. And you try it on with Conte, you ain't. His bodyguard, the bodyguard's going to sort him out. Anyway, Conte won't need to do anything. The bodyguard will say, yo, what's going on? Yeah? Come to me.
I think what you got to think of, players have to have attitude. I don't know. Yeah, you're going to have some model professionals who just come in, do their job. I guess you look at Harry Kane as being the model professional, the guy that doesn't really, show off. He's not out there with bling on. He just goes home, goes to his missus. He's got his 3 kids, all the rest of it. Whereas you've got someone like James Madison, who's a single guy, probably enjoying the lifestyle. I see him on all kinds of social media stuff. He does loads and loads of that stuff because he's a young kid at the end of the day. So he's going to want to be in that limelight. But as I said, if you can back it up, if you can play to that ability and show like a Jack Grealish does, you know, we've seen the likes of Paul Pogba. Everybody gets on Paul Pogba about his hairstyle and this, but he's a very, very, very talented footballer. He's just sometimes they get put in the wrong environment and they can't flourish because they don't want to, because it's not for them. When Paul Pogba goes to Juventus or goes back to wherever he's going to be, Juventus, isn't it? You're going to watch and see a different player. France don't make mistakes. He's in the French squad. And the same thing for Madison. I believe that, you know, maybe he's just got to that point at Leicester where it's like, I've got to that point now. I need to move on. And a new environment, a new manager, someone that's going to earn that respect from him. Antonio Conte is going to get that. If you'd have gone to someone like, and I'm not trolling, I'm just saying this as a Mikel Arteta who doesn't have that background, that gravitas as being a big-time player, or maybe a big-time player, but not a big-time manager, certainly isn't going to maybe, you know, influence someone like James Madison. So I think Conte is going to, like you said, Sid, grab hold of him and say, listen, I know you're a very, very good player. You're brilliant, but this is what I want you to do. If you don't do it like everybody else, you might sit on the bench for a little while. Exactly.
And I totally agree with you. So could he be, in the words of a certain judge on a certain show, could he be your 7th signing?
Well, the fact that everything's kind of come out so quickly after the fact that we've heard about the Djed Spence suggests to me that it's probably a lot further down the line than we've probably anticipated. And the fact that bids have gone in, if that's the case, I've not read that myself because I've not seen that background stuff information yet. But if bids have gone in, again, the way it usually works is they'll say through all the touting and all the agents, right, this is what we're going to do. Is this likely? The agents might be the middleman saying, yeah, the club's probably going to accept that. Right, we've got this amount. They probably agreed personal terms, or at least talked about personal terms. When it gets to this stage, unless you're an Arsenal where you've got somebody else going to come in and gazump you, potentially, if nobody else comes in with a bid and nobody else that James Madison wants to play for, then it should be a case of, as with this Djed Spence one, getting the cost right. What do Leicester want? What can we negotiate? If Leicester are astronomical, say we want 100 million for him, it's never going to work. But if we can negotiate, then we should get this deal done very, very soon.
That's it. Got 35 people watching. Please smash that like button. Please follow us and subscribe. Just in case you've been in the wilderness somewhere and you've forgotten what's been going on since January, Spurs have bought the following players. And as we're talking tonight on Sid Says with Sam Spurs for Life, I believe Antonio Conte has gone over to Daniel Levy and he's saying, "Please, sir, can I have some more?" So you never know what's going to happen. Let's go quickly through some more comments. Let's have a look. There's plenty. Andy James, 63. Great show, lads. Come on, you Spurs. Good evening and thank you, Andy. Ed M, good evening. There was movement on a new CB today, new centre-back today. Yeah, it's going to hot up now, Ed. It looks like it's ramping up. Godfrey Drummond, hi Sid and Sam. We sold Clark and Vickers. Yes, we did, to Sunderland and Celtic, respectively. Derek Hutchinson still clutching at this Bastoni on deadline day. Do you know, I keep reading every other day, right, that it's still... Bastoni still could be a possibility somewhere. Not just Spurs, but it could be somewhere. So I don't know, I don't know.
What I've heard about Spurs in this centre-back in this quest for the centre-back is, and again, it's stories and you see things on Twitter and you read things and people tell you things, is that they're waiting for everybody else i.e. the likes of Man United, the likes of Chelsea, all the big players to have made their decisions. We know that Arsenal are looking for centre-back. We know that Chelsea are still probably looking for centre-backs. We know that Man United have obviously signed Martinez. Is he going to be a centre-back? Is he going to play midfield? But they're probably likely to still want to get a centre-back as well. So if we start getting into bidding wars with some of these, it comes down to a choice. I still think we're the top choice of all those teams anyway, even Chelsea. But you don't want to get into a bidding war, because if a player then says, "Oh, you know what, man," because that's what maybe, I don't know, maybe happened with Ericsson, or he was on a free. Maybe Man United offer him 50 grand a week more. I don't know. I don't know what his details are. But that's the reason why I think that Spurs are saying, hold on, let everybody else go and do their thing. We're cool. We've got this long let done. We've got enough. But let's see, before the start of the season, or maybe even a few weeks into the season, we get this big signing. I think we've got enough to go into the start of the season and not have a problem. We can then see, right, what happens if we get this player. Bastoni, I'd be very surprised if we see him this season.
Yeah.
I would say that we might see someone like a Pau Torres potentially.
It's going to get interesting. Like you said, it's going to be interesting. Paulie Gadget, Madison does not want to come to Spurs. It has been widely reported. People's perception, people's minds change all the time, so you never know. Godfrey Drummond is saying Koundé or Torres. Yeah, like I said, we've discussed that.
Koundé one's kind of gone a bit quiet, hasn't it? So I think the problem with Koundé for me is we put in a good bid for him. He knocked us back completely and said, "I want Champions League football. I'm not going to come to Spurs." We're now in the Champions League. Then he got his head turned by Chelsea, so he said, "No, I'm going Chelsea." I got my mindset on Chelsea. Chelsea put everything in, and then it went quiet. Then PSG came in, then Barcelona came in. So I have not got a clue what's going on with that guy. And to be fair, the way he's been messing, well, I don't know if he's messing Spurs around, but he's totally said no to us. So then why would we want to go in there for him? I'd rather go with, like you said, Torres or Bastoni or somebody like that. But if he's available at a decent price, then who knows? Pauli saying here, don't do it to yourself, guys. He has a grudge against Spurs since Levy messed him about when he was at Norwich. Yeah, for that £1 million thing, because he was all ready to come to Spurs. Everything was done apart from Daniel Levy and his £1 million. So let's see. What I will say to that is, again, we can look at these things. Unless players have and they've got grudges, money talks, opportunities talks. A player of that sort of ability who may still have a chance of getting in the England squad, you're telling me that he's going to go, "I'm not playing for Spurs because I got done out of him," or whatever it was. I don't know what it was. I don't even know the story itself. But if they offer him the right amount of money and they offer him the ability to come to Spurs to progress him as a player, I think any player would be silly to hold a personal grudge. We've seen it in football. Players say, "I'll never go to that club," and then they end up kissing the badge every single time. We've seen the opposite as well. Players kissing the badge, and then the next week they're effing off somewhere else, and because they're saying, "Oh, blah, blah, blah." So all this stuff about players might not want to come because there's something in the past. Forget that. It's all about what's now and what they can negotiate. So I wouldn't look at that in any other way than it's just something that's maybe reported.
Yeah, that's it. Edem is saying here, Villa are going to sell Kane Chukwuemeka. That lad is mustard. We should be all over that. I don't think he's in Conte or Paratici's plans, to be fair. I think if they're going to go for someone, they're going to go for a recognised player. I know he's quite good, but I don't think we will. Winks part exchange plus cash for Madison. I think that's a good shout. That's a very good shout. But
and you know what? Even though we've talked about Winks in a 2 playing for someone like Leicester, I could see Winks actually doing all right at Leicester,
Yeah.
I don't know. Somehow I just think maybe the pressure of being at Spurs, because he was like, he's been through the system, and maybe that has got to him. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We said that same thing about Dele Alli, a new lease of life. But maybe that's for Winks. He's a professional. He's not. I've not heard him come out and moan too much. So he's not one of them guys that's going to say, "Oh well, Spurs have done me this, they've done me bad." He's probably just going to accept it. Knows he's not at that level. Conte's probably spoke to him about it and said, "Listen, for what we need, you may be not the person, but you are still a good player. And maybe if you go to someone like, as you said, Leicester, you can resurrect his career."
Absolutely. Totally agree with you. 10-0 football. is saying, big up Paxton Road. Thank you very much. Big up, big up. Godfrey Drummond again. He's saying Max Aaron hasn't been snapped up yet. He's a good right back. I think that boat sailed now. I think if we were to go for him last season, we would have put in a bid. And I think Conte and Paratici would have been all over that because, like you said, they've been relegated and he would have been available. But I think they've probably looked at that and they probably weighed it up with Spence. Look at the height, look at the potential, and I think they've decided that Spence is the better buy.
I think so. Max Aaron didn't have a great season last season as well.
Yeah, 100%. Tenor Football is saying, I'm happy we've got Spence as I believe in him and will back him 100%. I don't think it's just you that's going to back him. I think the whole football club is going to absolutely back him big time, because he's a young lad and people have seen what he can do. So I think the whole club's going to be out with it.
He has to come in and do exactly what he did for Middlesbrough and Forest, particularly Forest last season. He can't come in and be intimidated by playing at a high level because, like I said, I think he's shown that he can play against the opposition that he's going to be playing week in and week out against in terms of Arsenal, Leicester, and even Liverpool when he played. So Forest got quite far in the FA Cup and they got promotion to the Premier League. They must have been doing bits. And as you were saying, they were way down in the early part of the season, way down the league order.
This is it. Ritwika, where are you? You did mention Madison and you wanted to say, what do you think? We want to know what you think. Do you think it'd be a good addition to our squad? Or do you think it's just, it might be priced out of a move, or like somebody else said before, does he not want to come to Spurs? But do you think it'd be a good addition to our football club?
Do we know what the bid that's gone in, if there's a bid that's gone in from Madison?
I've not heard of a bid. I've heard there's a lot of interest, and just before I came on, I did read something that it's moving, progressing forward, but I never heard anything of a bid. Another one that's been mentioned, and it's come up again, Memphis Depay. Yeah, it's come back again. I saw it today as well. It's come back again. I'm not convinced with this guy, honestly. I know he's done well in bits, but last season or two, he's been like a hit of a miss player. And
so, go on. Sorry, I'll let you finish. I was
going to say, I honestly, I probably wouldn't want him at Spurs.
Could he be like a Serge Gnabry though? Serge Gnabry at Arsenal played what, 2 or 3 games? He didn't play much. 5 games at the moment. I can't remember how many games he played. Then he went to Bayern Munich. And obviously, we've seen what he's done there. So players can move somewhere else and really develop because maybe the environment wasn't great. Maybe there was things with the manager. I remember back in the day, Piqué, when he came to Man United, everybody said, that's a flop there. He's rubbish. Goes back to Barcelona, one of the best centre-backs in the world. So we can't just say because a player has, maybe lost it a bit at somewhere else that he cannot get that back. But I think you're right. I don't know if he's a player that really fits into. Well, he could be a squad player, and that doesn't look like it. Looks like we're trying to get equal amount of ability across the field, so it's not just about a big drop off. So again, could he be tempted into coming to Spurs to maybe play across the front line if we're leaking that? I just don't know though.
Yeah, that's it. Just think people joining us. So Spurs make 6th summer signing with the arrival of Djed Spence from Middlesbrough for a fee of in the region of 20 million. Manchester United have signed Christian Eriksen on a free transfer. Raheem Sterling has signed for Chelsea. Kalidou Koulibaly is in talks with Chelsea with a potential move. I think he's left America today to come to London. Arsenal are linked with Zinchenko and every other player, but none of them want to go to them. Barcelona are very quiet over Lewandowski, and Leeds midfielder Rafinha has finally completed his 55 million move to Barcelona, and Amanda Broye and Gianluca Scamacca are on West Ham's radar.
Yeah, that Broje's a good player. I like him.
Yeah, but again, he's one of them players that we would never have got because Chelsea would never have sold him to Tottenham.
Sell him to us.
What's doing my head in is the fact that somebody who's got no money, like Barcelona, have got players coming in left, right, and centre almost. How has a club we've got no dosh, I've not sold any players, still managed to get players in? I don't know what's going on there, but you know what? It's an interesting one.
I don't know where Barcelona are getting this money from. I see so many things on Twitter. There was like this cartoon sketch where they said they were going for Rafinha, and then there was things at 55 million, and it shows the person going off and breaking piggy banks and looking behind the backs of sofas and finding money down the drain and stuff like that, just to scrimp together to buy. And that's what it seems like Barcelona are doing. But how they're doing it, obviously they've got the money from the TV rights that they probably sold, and they probably sold their soul. But they are Barcelona. They are Barcelona. And
the Spotify are sponsoring them, aren't they? So the money's coming from Spotify. And the thing is, you're buying all these players, but yet you still owe De Jong 17 million. So pay the man his money first. Pay his wages that you still owe him. Pay him that. Then go and buy players. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Barcelona. We're here to talk about 15th of July. 6 Tottenham players have come into the football club. It's fantastic. It's a new dawn. It's a new day, and I'm feeling good. Dun, dun.
Do you know when we're going back to the Bell money days when we got them 7 players in, and it was like we were getting a player every single day, and I remember personally, it was like, oh my god, who's next? And you're waiting for the next day and we saw the lineup of the 7 players that we had. Now most of those players obviously weren't the best. We had Eriksen and Lamela probably out of that lot that go over any sort of decent. Obviously, Lamela we know that we're going to be facing tomorrow when we do Sevilla. Not to forget the Paxton Road watch along, where me and Sid and Darius 3K will be watching the game. Hopefully. Oh, that's just an interlude. Going back to the
I was going to say, and the other thing as well is, I know you are already reaching for the stars, because we could become Spurs Club 7, if we get our next player in. So we got to reach for the stars. Anyway, so we're going to wrap up in a minute. So obviously Madison's defenders are being looked at. I don't think there's any other positions really that Conte is now looking at.
Let me ask you a question before we go, because you always, as a host, I know you don't always get questions asked, and this is what happens with me sometimes. Right. If we had to get 2 more signings, not necessarily names, but what positions do you think we need? Because I think it's, as we mentioned, the centre back and this central attacking midfielder. But is there anything different to that you might consider?
I think left centre back, like you said, is a must. I've also heard that there's a few left backs that we are linked with. I've heard, I can't remember the name of the player now, but I think we've linked with another left back. But I don't know how many left backs and right backs he wants. But left centre back is a must for me. And
even with Longlet in,
I still think, like I said to you this last week, didn't I? I think Longlet is a 1-year loan deal with no buyback or no buyout. Now, I think 2 things here. I think Barcelona have loaned him out to Spurs to get him back to the potential that they think he's going to be. And they don't want to sell him because they don't want to sell a player for virtually 6-7 million, and then he turns out to be a world beater, and then they don't have any players. So I think they're under the perception that we loan him to Spurs, let Conte do his magic, let him become a world beater, and we get him back. Simple as. And it's not cost us anything.
So on Longlet's contract, I don't know. Somebody in the comments, if they know, can correct me. I thought he had 2 years left on his current contract. I might be wrong, which means if he does a year's loan with us, he's only got a year left. Once you get inside 2 years of a contract, it's player power anyway. So he could effectively say to Barcelona, well, you don't have to sell me, but then I can go for free next season. So what I'm saying is the player has the ability now to make that choice if he's in 2 years left of his contract. If it's 3 years plus, then it's a different matter. So unless people know that in the comments, let us know. But if it's 2 years, I think he's got the power.
Now his contract ends. You're right. Contract expires June 30th, 2023.
Right. So unless 23. That's next season.
That's right. That's what he says here. According to here, joined. Oh no, sorry. I'm looking at that's Tottenham Hotspur.
I was gonna say. That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't say. It doesn't say. They've put it up as Tottenham's. But I agree with you. But I don't think I don't think he's got 2 years left then, because there's no way if they've had 2 years, they would have sold him to us. But
Yeah, probably.
I still think he's going to be coming in. And I still think, like you said before, I think that statement signing is going to be the left centre back. And also, I think, well, me personally, I still think, even though we got Richarlison that can play all three positions and as a striker, I still think it's either going to be a striker or an attacking midfielder in the mould of Madison or someone that we'll get.
And you know why I think we're probably waiting a little bit for some of these other positions is because I think they want to see what the likes of Sarr, Troy Parrott, Brian Hill, all those players that have come back off loan who are in the tour and are going to be in pre-season, see how they perform. And that's why I don't think we're going to do anything more probably after this deal until we know that. And then they'll say, right, Gil's not ready for this season. Papa Sarr's not ready. Those two have to go out on loan. We might need to bolster another forward, or we might need to bolster another midfielder or a centre-back. And that's what I think, because I can't see us, after watching Sanchez play left, I know it was only the game against the Team Korea K-League, whatever it was, but I don't want to see him playing left-sided centre-back. And that's a little bit of a problem if Sanchez is playing there. Right side, I can accept him. Left side.
This is it. And I think Parrott, QPR, and as of today, I think QPR and Sunderland have shown very, very much interest in him. So I think he's just gone on the tour to get the experience, get the levels up, Conte to assess him. And I think Parrott will be either at QPR or Sunderland. I know Preston North End were after him, and I want him to go to my hometown, but I think he'll end up staying local, and I think he'll probably end up at QPR under Les Ferdinand and Ramsey, because obviously they'll have whatever communications with Spurs and Ledley King and all that. And I personally think he'll end up at QPR, because that way they can keep an eye on him as well. So, so that's what I think. I think a left centre back and attacking midfielder stroke striker will be the two that I would go for.
Cool. I agree.
Yeah. You think the same, or?
Well, I think if we're going to go for... All right, okay, take it back. If we're going to go for two players now and not including the potential of Madison, I would say a central attacking midfielder or someone who can play that advanced role, but maybe can play somewhere else as well in the midfield, and also a centre-back, per se, that probably can cover for Eric Dyer. I think the left side is going to be covered by Ben Davies and Longlet. And if we had to really push for it, Sanchez can play there, and even Tanganga can probably. So those sort of players are going to be fringe players that can, fill in. But we're going to still need really, really good competitive players playing in those positions, particularly Dyer's one, because if Dyer goes, I'm not sure who plays there. It could be Romero, it could be Sanchez, but would you be comfortable with both of those playing there? I'd rather see Romero playing where he's playing, because he can be a bit more advanced and he can also protect that right-sided area. So we'll see.
Yeah, just on the last one here, Derek Hutchinson saying Dyer and Sanchez not trophy-winning centre-backs. We need upgrades. We do. But if Dyer still plays at the levels that he did last season, and then we get another one in, then I think it can work. Because to have somebody like Dyer and Sanchez on the bench, it's, because now next season it's going to be more about depth in the squad.
I'm going to defend Dyer a little bit. Dyer is not the best centre-back in the world. Dyer is probably not the best centre-back at Spurs. I agree with all of that. But what Dyer does have more than any of our players is that leadership quality to command that. I've watched him. You've watched him, Sid. He's the one who always get up, move up, talking constantly, can speak different languages. So we know the communication can be done across that battle line with all those players, even if they're speaking in different in languages. And I saw him in the game against the Team K career team. He was getting them up. He was telling the players where to be. That's so essential in any defensive shape that it goes without saying. If you don't have that in there, as much as you could have brilliant footballers, you need that. So I'm going to give him that. That's what he's in there for. And
the other thing as well, I don't know if people have noticed, but all this press stuff and all this advertising promotions and that we do, you've got Lloris, you've got Harry Kane, you've got Son, and Dyer is always there as well. Always. So I think Conte holds him in very high regards in terms of the club and that, because he's always there with them four. So, I can't see him leaving the club. I think Conte has seen something in Dyer, and I don't think he's going to leave anytime soon.
All the managers have seen something in him, whether or not they've played him regularly, whether he seems to have now established himself as a centre-back. And I think that's where he's probably going to be. He's not a midfielder. He could probably play a defensive midfielder role, but would I trust him in terms of his pace? No. But what I will say is his positional sense, his reading of the game has definitely improved. And he does get the other players to do what they need to do. And that is essential for a black unit of 3 or 5. It's essential that you have organisation there. Without it, if you're out of kilter, just being out of shape, one player out of it's offside or not offside, you can get caught out. And top level professionals will take advantage of any defence that's not organised.
100%. Totally agree. Punch bag work, I was saying, good point, Sam. I think Soren Gill could stay if they show enough, though. Madison is also homegrown, so this could be interesting. If Madison doesn't happen, we can hate him as he's a goon.
Basuma came out and said that he supports Arsenal, but I've seen that Basuma, when he was laughing at Arsenal that time when they didn't make that top 4, didn't show that you supported him that much.
Absolutely. Just obviously on tomorrow, no Perisic and no Basuma. I think they're still COVID ridden, so from what I believe, they're done now until they come back to England. So that's their tour done. Looking forward to tomorrow's game. I know we're doing a watch along, myself, you, and Darius. What are you expecting tomorrow?
A bit more.
Let me rephrase that. What are you expecting, and which team's going to start?
Okay, so I think they're going to be definitely starting a little bit stronger than they did this Sevilla. Sevilla not going to play a weakened team, I imagine, because everybody wants to gear up. And it's a bit of kudos as well. You're playing Tottenham. You don't want to play a weakened team and get hammered. That's not going to happen. So I think we're going to start pretty strong. I want to see the level of intensity increase a little bit more. What I want to see is maybe give players like Richarlison another opportunity on that right side. I don't know if Kulusevski's back yet because he was injured for that last game. Potentially he's not going to be late. So maybe see a front three starting of Son, Kane, and Richarlison would be really good. I also would have loved to see Basuma, but he's not injured. Maybe see Benzema. We don't think we've seen them really play together much. That would be a great thing for us to see. And then again, going back to the back 5, I want to see Sessegnon get another opportunity. I do. I want to see Doherty see what he can do on that right side. And then the back 3, Ben Davies to start as opposed to Sanchez on that left, Dyer and Romero. So go pretty strong and then take him off after 30, 45 minutes, whatever. But start strong and rotate.
And it'll also be very nice to see Coco Lamela come and play against Spurs. So that will be good as well to see the reception that he gets as well. So if you're free tomorrow afternoon, grab yourself a TV or a laptop or your phone and join Paxton Road TV's watch along. We done it the other day and it was quite entertaining. It was fun to do. And it should be fun tomorrow. It should be fun. Like I said,
I think it'll be more competitive tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, I say it was relatively competitive. There was a lot of goals in it, but I think it's going to be a little bit more tactical. I don't think there was much tactics in the game that we played. I think basically Conte said, just go out and play. Don't do yourself an injury. But I think tomorrow's game is going to be a little bit more tactical in the way we're going to shape up for the season.
Absolutely. And I've just looked at the time, and a certain individual called Mark Spur, who's changed his name now to Mark P, has come up and he said, "Big up, boys, just got in. Can't wait for Love Island. Change from Mark Spur. Great show as always."
Yes, Mark. Yes. Well done.
People don't forget.
Yeah, we don't. And we also got to see, like I said, the other thing we've got to try and do is, if people, like I said, if you really are interested in coming on the stream and doing things with us here, put it in the comments. If you, like I said, confidence, we do this all the time, so it kind of is like normal to us, but it's not that hard. You just come on and talk Spurs. If you talk Spurs and you want to do that, put it in the comment section or send myself a tweet or send Sid a tweet and we'll answer and respond back to you.
Because you know what? Like, this show is just about transfers, about gossip, about rumours. If 100%. You've got rumours that you want to talk about, or there's certain players that you might feel that, you know what, would be a good fit for Spurs, like Sam said, give us a drop us an email, drop us a text, or put it in the comment section and we'll get you on. And you don't have to come on for an hour like we do. Just come on for 5 minutes, have your say. And then, you can go off. But yeah, it'll be good to have different people on, because all got 37, 38 people watching. You've all got comments in the sections, all valid comments. You know, other people are commenting and you're replying back. So it's an absolute pleasure. Please, like I said, and always say, please smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel as well. Everything's at the bottom of the screen. Share, let everyone know, because you know what it is. Sharing is caring. And we as Tottenham fans, we all share and we all care for each other, because we have Conte as our manager. Sam, anything to add before we wrap up?
What else am I going to add? You know what? What I would say to Spurs fans is we are very lucky and very privileged to have the manager that we have. This is, I think a few people have said, this is the best manager that we've had at Spurs since the glory days, if you want to go back to those glory days. And we should really be thankful for what he's been able to prize out of the board to get them to do. So I thought we're thinking we're doing is now we're getting all our players in, and maybe we're going to get rid of some players later on in this window. But let's stay with the team. Let's not be knee-jerk. Oh, he's had that really shit game. He's rubbish. No, we've got to give them all time. They've had another pre-season. Well, say another. They've had pre-season now for most of them. Some players are going to be at different levels. Some players are, you know, not going to maybe flourish as quickly as some of the others. But let's give the team a chance. Up until that first game against Southampton, where both myself and Sid will be there, let's stay with the team and make sure, you know, come on, you Spurs. That's it.
Absolutely. This is it. That's it. That's what it's all about. Just get behind the team. And I've seen it on Twitter. The fans on Twitter are so excited for this coming season.
I am.
It's like, I've never seen it before. I mean, the joy, the excitement, it's buzzing, absolutely buzzing. Even though they bought out that kit that a lot of people are not interested in.
Oh, that kit's fire! Have you not seen that picture with Ryan Sessegnon when he's got them yellow glasses on and he's got like hey, it's wicked. No, I like it personally. I do.
It might be one of them kits where once you've got it on, you might like it, but I don't know. But I think we've done an hour and 8 minutes. And as Mark said, there might be some people that are missing Love Island. They've already missed 15 minutes of it. I'm sure Darius is tucked up watching it. But it's been an absolute pleasure. We've got a 6th sign coming. Spencer signed for Spurs. Plenty more to come. And as always, I'll be every Friday. I'll be here with your updates and breaking news and all the Spurs transfer news, with my sidekick on this side, Sam. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good evening. Have a good weekend. And don't forget, tomorrow, 12 o'clock, Tottenham Hotspur will be playing Sevilla. And it's good night.